Craft is a routine training mission near the Jamnagar Air Force Station in Gujarat. That aircraft crashed in an open field near the Suwarda village, roughly about 12 kilometers from the Jamnagar city. And at the time, the official said that one of the two pilots had managed to eject safely, while the other one was found dead by the local villagers. This, of course, is a developing story. Remember, at this moment, we do not know about the number of casualties that may have taken place in the aftermath of this latest Air Force fighter jet, Jaguar fighter jet that has crashed. This is the second time in a span of the last 3 months that a Jaguar fighter jet has crashed. There are reports that possibly there could be civilians who may have sustained injuries in this incident. In some other stories now, King Charles III has hailed the British-French ties as he hosted a royal banquet at the Windsor Castle in honour of the French President Emmanuel Macron, who is now currently on a state visit to the country. Emmanuel Macron attended the state dinner with his wife Brigitte, along with 160 guests, including the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The musical icons and members of the British royal family were also in attendance for this state visit by Macron, which comes after 16 long years after the late Queen Elizabeth II had hosted the then French President Nicolas Sarkozy. Now, in his address, the British monarch said that he believed in the friendship between the United Kingdom and France and has urged the two nations to lead in the face of some pretty complex threats that have emerged in the 21st century.
Today, our two countries face a multitude of more complex threats, emanating from multiple directions. As friends and as allies, we face them together. These challenges know no borders. No fortress can protect us against them this time. Instead, the answer lies in partnership, and we, France and Britain, must help to lead the way.
Now, thanking the British monarchy, Macron highlighted as to how the United Kingdom and France are on the front lines, defending the continent and also its democratic values.
Even today, in the face of the Russian aggression in Ukraine, in the face of the multifaceted risks of destabilization in Europe, in the face of the Middle Eastern crisis, we are on the front lines of the defense and security of our continent and its democratic values. Together, Britain and France, nations of peace and progress, have the capacity to rally European and foreign nations.
Earlier in the day, the French president was in fact greeted by the royal family, including the heir to the throne, Prince William, and his wife, Princess Catherine, before they travelled in horse-drawn carriages for a procession at the Windsor. The French president then set out to the British Parliament, where he said that the two countries needed to come together to strengthen Europe and also to protect international order, while also vowing to help Ukraine.
In order to build, we will fight till the very last minute in order to get the ceasefire, in order to start the negotiations to build this robust and sustainable peace. Because this is our security and our principles together which are at stake in Ukraine. This is the possibility of a Europe in peace. Our generation did enjoy during the past decade, which is at stake in Ukraine, nothing less.
Now, Macron has also highlighted the need for the United Kingdom and France to reduce risks posed by relying on the United States and China for trade. He warned about the threats of overcapacities, oversubsidies and trade wars, which can destabilize value chains and create new dependencies.
beginning of the end of the war came on the beaches of North. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Parliament. Since then, our states have had a...
Now, the Argentine capital was shrouded in fog on Tuesday with dense fog causing disruptions to flights. Over 30 different flights were in fact cancelled and more than 45 others were delayed on the streets. Car drivers struggled through the poor visibility. We'll leave you with these images. Thanks for watching.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of. A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA. Join the conversation.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
welcome. You're watching WION World is One. My name is Mohammed Saleh, and with me in the studio is Miss Rajni Kalra. And let's start this broadcast by taking a quick look as to what is making headlines at this hour. Now, Ukraine says that Russia launched its largest missile and drone attack with 728 drones and 13 ballistic missiles. The Ukrainian western city of Lutsk has suffered the heaviest assault. At least about 10 people have reportedly died after a bridge connecting Anand and Vadodara suddenly collapsed in the state of Gujarat in India. The Indian Prime Minister has now announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees to the next of kin of the deceased. The Indian Prime Minister lands in Namibia in the last leg of his 5-nation tour, and he receives a traditional and a rapturous welcome by members of the Indian diaspora in the Namibian capital in southern Africa. The Indian nurse Nimisha Priya, who was handed the death sentence in Yemen, is to be executed on the 16th of July. The social worker Samuel Jerome, who's been trying to help Nimisha's family, tells WION. Australia's central bank keeps rates steady at about 3.85%, closely watching the US tariff moves. The officials say that tariff fallout is now limited for now, but global uncertainty remains pretty high as inflation data is awaited. And Amanda Anisimova beats Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in straight sets to reach the semi-finals at Wimbledon. The 13th seed will take on world number 1 Arina Sabalenka for a place in the title clash. Alright, so let's start with a big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. Now, Kiev says that Russia has launched its biggest missile and drone attack of more than this 3-year-long war on Ukraine. And this time, on target was mainly the western part of the country, the far western city of Lutsk that came under the heaviest attack in this war. Explosions also rocked Kiev at about midnight. The Ukrainian Air Force said that Russia had attacked with 728 drones and 13 ballistic missiles, adding that its air defense systems had intercepted 711 drones and that at least 7 missiles were destroyed. Ukrainian Air Force says that Russian forces had deployed about 728 Shahed-type attack drones and decoys, as well as 7 Kh-101 or the Iskander-K cruise missiles and 6 Kinzhal missiles. The latest strike beat a previous Russian record of 550 drones and missiles that was just sent a fortnight ago. And it comes just after the United States made a U-turn on an announcement that it will reduce some weapon supplies to Ukraine. Now, Ukraine, remember, has been marked by disturbingly frequent mass attacks on civilian targets, with Russia regularly reportedly terrorizing cities with ballistic and cruise missiles alongside record-breaking numbers of kamikaze drones. Now, President Donald Trump has said that he's approved sending the US defensive weapons to Ukraine and is also considering some additional sanctions on Moscow, underscoring his frustration with the Russian President Vladimir Putin over the growing death toll in Russia's war with Ukraine. Now, Trump, who had pledged as a presidential candidate to end this war in less than 24 hours of taking charge, has not been able to follow through on that promise. And his efforts by his administration to broker some kind of peace between Russia and Ukraine have come up short, and now he has announced that he'll be sending more weapons to Ukraine. The Houthi rebels have released a dramatic footage of their attack on the Greek-operated cargo ship, the Magic Seas, in the Red Sea. A video released by the Houthi rebels' media arm Ansar Allah shows the militants boarding a vessel and explosions rocking the ship, sending some black smoke into the air. The video shows the Houthi forces hailing the vessel in English over VHF radio, issuing threats before masked gunmen boarded the ship. The footage captures the gunmen storming the vessel, navigating through broken glass and later chanting the Houthi slogans. And the video concludes with explosives detonating, resulting in the sinking of the ship. The Greek-owned Liberian-flagged bulk carrier Magic Seas came under attack from drones, missiles, rocket-propelled grenades and small arms fire, prompting its crew of 22 to immediately abandon the ship. The vessel was reportedly carrying a cargo of fertilizer and steel billets, and it was reportedly bound for Turkey. A UAE rescue mission led by Safine Prism, operated by the Abu Dhabi Ports Group, responded to a distress call and brought the 22 crew members to safety. Meanwhile, according to an EU maritime force, another cargo vessel, the Liberian-flagged bulk carrier Eternity, again came under attack by the Houthis on Monday, resulting in the death of 3 crew members. The two incidents in quick succession have raised fears of a return to regular Houthi attacks on a vital shipping route that previously carried about 12% of global trade. Meanwhile, satellite images show damage to the port city of Hodeidah in Yemen after the Israelis bombed what they claim were Houthi targets at 3 ports and also a power station in Yemen on Monday. The British security firm Ambre has said they observed imagery that can confirm damage to the concrete docks at the Hodeidah port. Now, Israel has described the attacks as retaliation for the Houthi group's ongoing attacks on its shipping. Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu met for the second time in 24 hours as the American president has intensified pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister to end the war that is waging on the Gaza Strip. The Israeli leader departed from the White House just after an hour's meeting with Trump at the Oval Office. The talks were held without any media presence, and Netanyahu said that the meeting focused on efforts to free the Israeli hostages.
I had another meeting with President Trump at the White House today, and then a brief meeting with Vice President Vance. We have focused on efforts to free our hostages. We are not letting up for a moment, and this is possible because of the military pressure exerted by our heroic soldiers. Unfortunately, this effort is exacting a painful price from us in the fall of our best sons, but we are determined to achieve all our goals.
He also noted that their discussions covered the implications and the possibilities of the victory Israel and the United States claim to have achieved over Iran. Earlier, Netanyahu had said that Israel is closer to a ceasefire deal with Hamas, but has declined to offer any details about the talks, saying that he's still working out the details.
Well, we're certainly working on it. I can't speak in advance. You need several parties to tango. It's not even 2 here. But we're working on it diligently as we speak. In fact, on the way over here and on the way from here. We're not going to let up. We have a goal. we intend to achieve that goal.
Meanwhile, Trump told the reporters ahead of the meeting that he wants to solve the tragedy of the war that is being inflicted on the Palestinians in Gaza.
I would say almost exclusively Gaza. We got to get that solved. Gaza is a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And he wants to get it solved, and I want to get it solved. And I think the other side wants to get it solved. Steve, could you talk on that, please?
Netanyahu's return to the White House for fresh talks came after the Qatari mediators warned that it would take time to seal an elusive ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas at talks in Doha. And according to reports, the state of Israel is set to submit a new set of maps on Wednesday detailing its proposed troop redeployment in the Gaza Strip. The move comes after the previous version was rejected by Hamas due to disagreements over the parameters of the IDF's withdrawal during the 60-day Gaza truce that is being negotiated in Doha. On the other hand, Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has reportedly pushed back his flight to Doha, where he was slated to join the talks on a ceasefire. Earlier, he had said that he's hopeful of a ceasefire agreement within days, adding that the deal would include the return of 10 live hostages that are currently in the custody of Hamas and 9 dead hostages. Now, hostilities, meanwhile, have continued on the ground. Gaza's civil defense has reported that 29 Palestinians were killed in the Israeli bombings on Tuesday